Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the absolutely, completely random podcast for Saturday, March 17th, 2018. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody! Woo! Okay, I got that out of the way. What topics do I have in store for you this week? Well, believe it or not, Square Enix is hiring some level planners for their Final Fantasy VII remake. Ho, 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 boy. The Dragon Ball Super anime film has a release date of December 14th. Oh boy, that's when it's going to hit Japan, folks. The series may be coming to an end, but the film will keep on trucking. Some sad news, however, though, to announce this week, as not only has Stephen Hawking passed away, but Toys R Us is also planning to liquidate and shut down all of its U.S. operations, including its U.S. stores. Man, I still don't want to grow up. I will always be a Toys R Us kid. The upgraded Rasberry Pi 3 delivers more power and faster networking. Who the beep cares? No, seriously, I've seen this, and I'll talk about it in the topic. And Boogiepop Phantom is returning in 2018 with a new anime series, and this is one that I have seen the cover of, and I have heard about, but I have never seen the show itself. And so much more. All this week on the absolutely, completely random podcast. By now, though, of course, you know the song and dance. ARHOADS-2012 on eBay. You can check that out for all your weird oddity needs. You can also follow me on Twitter at OtakuRoads. And you can also follow me on my Facebook page, WebDesigner18 on Facebook. So, let's start off how we do every week. How was your week, Andrew? Well, believe it or not, this week was sort of fun. I got to say farewell to my supervisor because my last day of having to see her was Wednesday, and I am now free. That's all the further I'm going with that. No, I still have my job. It's just that I'm just kind of free of the supervisor until we get somebody else. So that's all the further I'm going with that. It's just, changing of the guards, basically. Other than that, though, one big exciting announcement that we had for this week, we had the arrival of something very wonderful to our family. It's a new addition. It's a beautiful thing. Weighs, I want to say, about a good 20-some pounds. And oh man, is it welcomed in our family with open arms. Yes, that's right. We picked up a new television. Well, what did you think I was talking about? Yes, we actually got my grandfather a new television because his old one was crapping out. Now, I'm going to be honest, it does still work, but when you have to turn it off and turn it on 8 times to get the picture to come on, that's a problem. I know that there's an issue with it. I know that it's somewhat fixable because I've seen guides on how to do it online. It's just way out of my expertise. I know it can be fixed. If not, it's good for parts. So I have it up on Craigslist to just get rid of it at this point because it's now taking up space. So there's that. But we got a new TV. It's welcomed. It's a welcome edition, 32-inch. So it's actually bigger than the old one. So my grandfather can actually see it now. He has no excuse. So that's kind of cool. And then today this is the fun part. So today, I picked up a movie to watch since we kind of have this new thing where we watch weekend movies together as a family. So we'll watch one movie, like my grandfather, my mom, and I will watch a movie together one weekend. And I picked up Chicken Run because my mom goes, "Oh, I think you'll like this movie." Okay, they have it at work for $5. I'll pick it up. Picked it up this morning, and we're sitting down. We're watching this. I'm in my, football sweatpants, relaxing. Got my 5 Slim Jims. Got my cup filled with RC Cola. And I'm sitting there going, this is nice. And then my old DVD player decides it wants to act screwy again. And this is what pisses me off. It has a habit of doing this, and in all honesty, I will admit this. We might have kicked up a little too much dust moving the old TV on Thursday to warrant it working correctly for today. So it probably had a massive amount of dust buildup, And what ended up happening was it stopped reading the disc. It just literally paused the disc, and then it would start back up like a few minutes later. Then it would pause it again and start reading it up, and then pause it again and start reading it up. This is like the third time this player has done that since I've owned it. Now, in all fairness, I have had this player for over 10 years. I mean, this thing was my original DVD player that I got way back in the day. It's only got 4 buttons. It's a Magnavox. That thing was like my pride and joy because that is how I entertained myself in my room. I would watch the trailers for anime that I did not own, for OVAs that I did not own, had no chance in hell of ever getting. And I would watch the trailers and just listen to the music and then have it stuck in my head so that when I'm in study hall the next day in high school, I could just listen to the music. I could just play the music in my head as I'm sitting there trying to keep myself awake because study hall was so boring when you had no homework to do. That just tells you something. But anyway, I got it to work. I cleaned it a bit quickly. I have a disc to clean off the lens, which I'm going to do tomorrow quick. And then we're going to try Family Movie Day again with the movie that we were watching today. I'll probably just start it over from scratch so that way we can all be caught up since a good amount of time is going to separate. But on top of that, we also have to fix our bathroom sink. In all fairness, it's been going bad for a while, and it's just like one thing after another with us this week. I mean, like I said, I always believe in that yin and yang thing. So for one good thing, something bad has to happen, okay? We got a new TV, bathroom sink decides to crap out. Okay, we got the bathroom sink situation almost completely squared away. We got the new, sink head for it, the new handles. And then the DVD player decides it wants to crap out. It's just one thing after another that balances out the universe, if you think about it. But I'm not exactly upset about it. It's just one of those things. But we had to fix that. It's just kind of bad because yesterday it started leaking water. I mean, I turned it on to wash my hands, and all of a sudden I'm like, why am I hearing a massive amount of water like it's hitting? Because we have this little trash can underneath it. I'm like, why does it sound like it's hitting the trash can? Here I look down, and it's just completely running down, and I'm like, oh, crap. So that was sort of my Friday. And today was just, humdrum. Still trying to track down some movies to watch, though, with my grandfather and my mom. So I have a couple on the list, but I just have to actually pick them up and order them because, unfortunately, my local FYE does not have the one, and I don't think they actually had the other now that I think about it. Because I think I did see the placard for it, and I think it was empty. So that kind of sucks. But either way, it's not a love loss. It's just more of an annoyance. But I'm looking forward to this. But anyway, let's get into the podcast. Let's get this song and dance going here, folks. Because I know you're busy. I'm busy too. We all have stuff to do, and you don't want to listen to me ramble on about my life. That's not why you tune in. You want to hear me talk about other things, which I'm more than willing to do. Okay, so if you're interested in the video game industry and you want to work for one of the greatest video games ever made, or at least the remake of one of the greatest games ever made, you might want to pay attention to this. So Square Enix is hiring level planners for their Final Fantasy VII remake. So here's a sign that work on the long-awaited remake of Final Fantasy VII, which is one of the most iconic in the entire franchise. If you ask somebody, they're either going to say Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VI, depending on who you ask. Personally, I liked Advent Children, which was a movie that they based from the characters from Final Fantasy VII. I liked it. I never played Final Fantasy VII, unfortunately. That was a PlayStation game, and I never had the original PlayStation. I had a PS2, and I could never find a copy of the damn thing. Not for a lack of trying. I did check local GameStops. Let me rephrase that. Local game shops. This was before GameStop wouldn't have had this. It would have been too old for them. Local game shops that had some of the older stuff, they had squat. And I was just pissed. And then when I got access to eBay and that, and I'm looking on there, I'm like, oh, cool, I wasn't going to pay those prices. That was outrageous. But I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But anyway, if you're interested in wanting to work for this, like I said, pay attention. This is interesting. So, it's finally picking up steam because they're hiring level planners for this game. Now, a level planner is basically, if I'm correct in assuming this, the level planner basically just designs the level and tests it to make sure that it works, that there's no glitching or anything else. Now, I could be wrong, mind you, so don't shoot me on the comments and go, you're an idiot, you're wrong, what the hell's wrong with you? Don't shoot me. I'm admitting, don't quote me here. So, what's interesting about this is that they're finally hiring these, meaning that the game's finally picking up steam. And basically, it's just entertaining all around. So, what's great about this is that it's a core member for the remake, which is cool. It also appeals to potential recruits by offering flexible hours, a good corporate environment, and a chance to boost their career by working on a huge, highly anticipated title. That's true. So level planners for the game will be expected to design their levels, then implement them via Unreal Engine 4, which should already tell you, for those of you that follow that and know what the hell that is, that's going to be pretty huge. That's actually pretty cool, because I've seen some stuff that Unreal Engine 4 can do. So the posting notes that it's been 20 years since the release of Final Fantasy VII, and that one of the goals of the remake is to have fans love Cloud and Sephiroth for another 100 years. Honestly, I don't think you really have much of a problem with that, because I remember in high school, there were so many Cloud x Sephiroth yaoi pictures that some of my classmates were drawing. Believe me, it's not pleasant when you're having to go around and collect articles for the school newspaper, or at least attempt to, and you run across 6 or 7 of those hanging off the person's locker on the inside. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you're in this Final Fantasy. That's cool. Where's your article? Needless to say that I only had to do that for like one edition of the paper and then never again, because I got told too many times to kiss off. It's kind of bad. But on Japanese social media, some fans have expressed dismay that level planning is only beginning now, with comments like, I bet it'll come out on PS5 and I'm betting on a 2025 release. Let's be honest here for a minute, if I may, let's be honest. You're talking about one company that wants to make a remake. This is a delicate thing to handle. You just don't come out with the remake and say 100%, this is what we're going to do, plop it out on the shelf, and hope and pray it sells. On title and name alone. The gameplay has to be good. I went for a job interview once, and the person said to me that they were not just going to hire the first person that met their credentials, they want to find the right person. That's the same concept with this. They're not just going to hire the first few people that come knocking on their door and say, hey, we want the job, give it to us. It don't work like that. They're going to want people that are going to make this game epic, that are going to be able to design kick-ass levels, that are going to make them really cool, really unique, something that Final Fantasy fans will be gawking over for years to come. When it comes to the remake, sure, okay, it's in development hell. No one will deny that it's in development hell. But the problem is that while you're complaining about it being there, it's actually a good thing that it's there. It could suck that it's there, but let's face it. Would you rather have it be designed out on the shelf and suck? Or would you rather have it be on the shelf, being designed, then go on the shelf and be so wonderful it just blows everything away? Sure, Square Enix may be holding out until Sony finally pulls their heads from their ass and comes out with the next PlayStation model. Even though they claim that the PS4 or whatever the hell it was that came out is going to be the last, let's face it, it may not be. So you have to understand that there's a decent side here that they have to consider. Do we just plop it out now, have it suck, and the fans will be chewing us a new one? Or do we hold true to this, hold on to it, develop it to be a kick-ass title, and then have it be the flagship game for a new console? Because, I mean, like I said, Sony's just got to literally just pull their heads out, and they might come up with the, you know what, let's do it, let's go with the PS5, let's kick some ass with it, will show Nintendo that their stupid Switch is not going to beat us. We're not going to lose to Nintendo again. We are still a competitor in this. And they might want to do that, and they might be banking on this going, develop this thing to be great. We're going to make sure that our processor can kick its butt in every which way from Sunday. We're going to make sure that it takes up so much power and speed that it looks so fluid, like you're right there with them. We'll make sure it looks beautiful. We'll make sure the processor can handle it. We'll design a system so great that this game will be the flagship for our console for generations to come. Or they could just be biding their time because they don't know what they're doing. Either way, it's still, who knows? I mean, it's like you said, it's been 20 years. You never know. But the news, though, from this came from a job posting which said that Square Enix is looking for core members for its Final Fantasy VII remake. So, like I said, if you're interested in it, my guess is you probably got to speak Japanese, or at least be able to type in Japanese with a translator program if you have to send emails. You have to be good at video game design, because this is something that I would have loved to have done. Sadly, it's no longer a possibility for me because, like so many of my other dreams, it got dashed to pieces when your guidance counselor tells you that there's no way you can be a video game designer, you're not intelligent enough. Like so many of your other dreams, it can easily get crushed. And I know there are people out there that are going to go, well, you shouldn't have given up on your dream. Yeah, when your guidance counselor tells you that you're not smart enough for it, and then you have certain family members that say the same thing, you really just have to take a backseat and go, yep, okay, they must have a point about something. But if you're not like me, and I'm hoping that there's some of you out there that aren't, if you're not like me, and you want to try your hand at this, put in an application. I don't know the exact site. My guess would be just type it in a Google search, and I guarantee you will find it. Send in a resume, fill out the application, and give it a shot. And if you do get that way, don't forget that I sent you there because you may not have known that it exists. Unless, of course, you scour the internet and you're a huge fan of Final Fantasy VII, in which case, then you pretty much knew and I just wasted about 9 to 10 minutes of your life. To which I apologize. But, yeah, you never know. Might have been worth it. So, a massive announcement from the Land of the Rising Sun, or at least one section in the Land of the Rising Sun, detailing Dragon Ball Super. As sad as it is that there's only a couple episodes left of the anime series, and we had to wait another week. Thank you so much for that, by the way. You only have 2 episodes left, because it's going to end at episode 131, and you have to kill another week by having us wait an extra week because, no. It's ending on the end of this month. There's literally 2 weeks left. Because starting April 1st, you have that new show starting. And it's time slot. So it's like, there's only 2 episodes left. Why are you torturing us with this? Well, apparently, I don't have an answer for that. But there is some news regarding the new film. Which was originally supposed to come out in December of this year. It still is in Japan. It'll come out later here in the U.S. I mean, come on. But the release date has been announced as December 14th. So, it's actually pretty cool. But just because the series itself is coming to an end, it doesn't mean that the saga itself is over. Come on, it will live on for eternity. You can buy the manga, you can rewatch the episodes, you can create fantasy battles in Dragon Ball's universe and Dragon Ball Fighters. There is so much Dragon Ball in the world that it is nowhere near ready to die yet. And if it does, we'll just summon Shenron and revive it once again, so long as it doesn't go of natural causes. So, with all that, you have the movie to look forward to, and the official website has the tentative title Dragon Ball Super anime film set to open in Japan on December 14th, like I said. So, One Piece Film Z's Tatsuya Nagamani is, and I do apologize again if I mispronounced that, is directing the feature with his script. Which has a script and character designs by Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama. Akira Toriyama. The man that can do no wrong. I mean, come on, I've seen most of his stuff and not one thing has sucked. Well, okay, except for Dragon Ball Z Kai. Ugh, that was horrible. He didn't touch Dragon Ball GT, so I can't blame him for that one. Naohiro Shintani serves as the animation director, and Kazu Ogura is on board as art director. You know what's funny is that years ago I could pronounce Japanese names like it was nobody's business. Now I'm struggling to get most of these because I have to figure out how it's. Yeah, and I apologize mostly if I mispronounce your name. I'm sorry about it. So while we wait for more info, Toriyama had a few comments to make about the film. The story will take place after the current anime's Tournament of Power arc, which would honestly explain why the series is ending. Because if you think about it, we had the Beerus Saga, which launched Dragon Ball Super, the revival of F movie, which launched the Golden Frieza arc of the saga and then brought us Frieza later on. Then we had the Tournament of Power between Universe 6 and 7, which was actually a good way to introduce the other universes, or at least one of them. Then you had the filler episode that everybody hated and complained about. Yes, I know. But the English dub brought back the original voice of Vegeta from the Ocean dub, so suck it. Then you had the Goku Black Saga with Future Trunks, which so many things were beautiful with that, and so many things were stupid with that. But I'm not going to complain about it. The good outweighed the bad in that one. Then you have the Tournament of Power for the all universes. So that's, it would make sense. Because then they're going to do this, and then they'll probably have the next saga come out. I'm betting on Dragon Ball Super Z. Think about it. That would make sense. Originally, it was Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z. Don't count GT, but then they went to Kai, then Dragon Ball Super. Now it could be, Dragon Ball Super Z, the next evolution. Which would be pretty cool, but, you don't know what happens until it happens. It will feature previously unwritten details about the Saiyans and Frieza, as well as a long-awaited strong opponent to overcome. Ooh, we finally get to have a character or a power that Goku may not even be able to defeat. Well, then again, he's kicking Jiren's ass right now, and he's mastered Ultra Instinct. Yeah, we have to have that pedestal. I mean, come on, he can't be the best. There has to be somebody out there that's better. There's always somebody better. Fun life tip for you. There's always somebody better, stronger, faster, whatever than you. You may think you're the best, but there's always somebody that's better. But Toriyama has added that Toyotaro's popular Dragon Ball Super manga will continue, and is expected to have new developments that make it different from the TV anime and the movie. So the manga's splitting off into its own tangent universe sort of deal. So it's sort of pulling a Full Metal Alchemist. Because for those of you that have ever seen that series, the original Full Metal Alchemist series followed the manga up to, I want to say, volume 9. Because I kind of had, no, let me rephrase that. I did have the manga up to volume 9. And at the time, the original Full Metal Alchemist was the only one out there. Right around volume 9 of the manga, which I want to say was around, like maybe volume 5 or 6 of the anime series, is where it kind of, started differentiating its separate ways, and then just went on two different tangents. The manga continuing down the pathway, which would then become Brotherhood, and the original anime series that wasn't Brotherhood, the original, not the remake sequel, did its own thing, which ended with the movie, which I still say was one of the best Full Metal Alchemist movies ever made. And I have not seen The Star of Milos, so I can't say for sure, but Conqueror of Shambhala was beautiful. Come on, that was a great movie. So the Dragon Ball Super manga is going to continue. It's going to just go into its own tangent, which is, you would expect that, because you either have two choices, and I've constantly said this is why you have filler arcs. Either they're reaching the conclusion with the Tournament of Power and nothing else is ready for the manga, or they realize, hey, the manga can just go off on its own because it may have differed too much from the anime series in like one or two ways, because there were people saying that they were going to bring Cell back for the Tournament of Power instead of Frieza, and I haven't seen any of the manga, so I don't know. So you have that, or like I said, yeah, ugh, can't even talk today. They could just be splitting it off into two different tangents to basically make it its own separate thing. Then they can come out with its own run-of-the-mill anime series, so that they could just come up with an all new story if they want to continue the anime series with a new, series itself, or just let the manga run its course because, hey, it's Dragon Ball. How bad can it be? Okay, not counting GT. Come on, we all know GT sucked. Grand tore my ass. But anyway, that's still good news, though, to know that the manga's going to keep going on, that the movie's got a release date. I'd like to know what the release date's going to be here in the U.S. Why couldn't it be a worldwide release? That they could send, as they're completing each section, drawing it and animating it, send it over to the U.S., have Funimation start the dubbing process, and we could have a worldwide release on the same day. That would be great. Yeah, that's not going to happen, though, but that would be great. Yeah. But you never know. I mean, weird things may have happened. Stuff might change. You never know. It's a tentative date. I mean, it's not... nothing is ever set in stone. The future can always change. Okay, so the next topic is going to get a little hard for me because it's going to touch a very sensitive spot for me, and it's going to hurt. So if I start tearing up, you know why. Because I really don't want to grow up. I will always be a Toys R Us kid. And unfortunately, our time in the sun is sadly becoming eclipsed. Toys R Us has announced that they are liquidating all of their stores and their U.S. operations, shutting down all of their stores. And this was according to an audio recording of the meeting obtained by the Associated Press with CEO David Brandon, who told the employees on Wednesday about the company's plan. So Toys R Us is headed towards shutting down its entire U.S. operation. And first off, I would like to point this out. You cannot, in any way, shape, or form, blame the millennials for this. As there are a lot of people that are saying it's all the millennials' fault because all they want to do is stuff that's online. Toys R Us had an online store. ToysRUs.com, you could buy the stuff online. So you can't come out and say that it's all the millennials' fault. Okay? Because they had an online thing, so it's not entirely blaming the millennial type of deal here. But Toys R Us is headed towards shutting down all of its U.S. operations, jeopardizing the jobs of some 30,000 employees while spelling the end for a chain known to generations of children and parents for its sprawling stores and Jeffrey the giraffe mascot. I can now picture him on the island of misfit mascots going, I was around for 70 years, and now I'm just a giraffe standing on this beach. It's really sad. It really is. So, they're closing 740 U.S. stores over the coming months. It's going to finalize the downfall of a chain that succumbed to heavy debt and relentless trends that undercut its business from online shopping to mobile games. A majority of the problems that, like I said, are being blamed on is that they were I think it was like $5 million in debt. They were massively getting screwed by Walmart, Target, and Amazon that were just undercutting them left and right. Keep in mind, Walmart, Target, those two are big box chain stores. They have the resources to get the stuff and put it out on a cheaper thing because they have the name. You say Walmart, people instantly think, okay, the people that walk around with the blue smocks. You think Target, they think the bullseye. Or that weird dog with the red spot on its eye. When you hear Toys R Us, you instantly think Jeffrey, and you think, oh, it's a toy store with all the overpriced toys that I can get elsewhere cheaper. I know Dorkly did a comic on it, and I got a kick out of it. We're going to Toys R Us as a kid versus going as an adult. When you go as a kid, you are literally in Wonderland, and it's just a magical environment. It's just a wonderful feeling to be there. You're surrounded by all the things in the world that will make you happy, that you just never want to leave. You go there as an adult, and you keep thinking, why aren't the children on leashes? Why are the children running around? And that's what a majority of people think. Me personally, I'm happy that the kids are running around. They're enjoying themselves. Don't stifle their imagination. Don't let them, get screwed over. Come on. I mean, I was the Toys R Us kid. This place has been around for 70 years, and they're now gone. They're going to be closing down their stores. They're wiped off the face of the earth. All we are going to have are the memories. I mean, I was a fan of Borders Books. There was a massive bookstore chain called Borders. I was a huge fan of them. They're gone. I was a fan of Walden Books. They got bought by Borders, and then Borders went belly up. I will never forget this. It's like everything that I love just kind of goes at some point. I mean, it's an inevitable thing, but still. But a lot of the stuff with the mobile games, you can't blame that. Well, yes, a lot of kids are interested in their tablets and their smartphones, and yes, the mobile games are addicting. I mean, let's face it, why do you think arcades died off? Nobody wants to play an arcade when, I can just go home and play my Xbox. Or I got my, Candy Crush on my phone here. No one's going to deny that that's a problem. It's always going to be. But the thing is that you still had a chance to make people happy. I mean, you still had the younger kids. Yes, there's no hope anymore for the older ones, but that's not what your target audience was. Your target audience was the younger kids. If you would have found a way to make it more entertaining for them, make them come in and drop their entire allowance on like tablet accessories or something for their thing. Make it like a Jeffrey exclusive skin or a cover for your tablet or your phone. Make the figures a little cheaper or something. Make the toys, just like $10 less than what they are. They would probably still be around. And I'm going to be serious on that. As far as the online shopping, yes, eBay kills a lot of stuff. So does Amazon. Because you can find it much cheaper on there. Because you're going to have scalpers that are going to buy it, realize that they're screwed, and then just try to unload it for whatever they can get. Just to try to recoup their loss. That's what happens. With this stuff, it's, I can get it on this site cheaper because somebody else probably either A, bought it wholesale, or B, bought it off of you clearance or had a coupon or had a gift card or something and just used it up and just plopped it up on their thing. And I'm just going to turn and burn this. I don't want it. And that's just the sad thing about it. But it gets worse. It's never a good thing whenever a company announces this. So, like I said, CEO David Brandon told employees on Wednesday that the company's plan is to liquidate all of its U.S. stores and shut them down. So they're gone. They're going to be done. Brandon said Toys R Us will try to bundle its Canadian business with about 200 stores and find a buyer. So this is like a big shot here for the millionaires that want to go out there and try to make a name for themselves. Here you go. Do you need it to be on a silver platter or a golden platter for you to jump at it? Yes, I know. Well, it's physical media. Yes. Here's the thing. There's still a place for that. Transformers are still huge. If Hasbro would pull their heads out of their butts. But, Transformers are still good. Power Rangers are still going so long as Nickelodeon doesn't screw them to the wall. You could get a whole bunch of, import stuff and put down. There was a whole bunch of ways that this could have worked out better for them, but they just didn't want to try it. And that's the sad part. The company's U.S. online store would still be running for the next couple of weeks in case there's a buyer for it. So I told you there was an online store here. It's likely to also liquidate all businesses in Australia, France, Poland, Portugal, and Spain. According to the recording, it's already shuttering its business in the United Kingdom, and that would leave it with stores in Canada, Central Europe, and Japan, where it could find buyers for those assets. Toys R Us is done. And that's the sad part. I mean, I have fond memories of this. When I was growing up, we took a family trip to a Toys R Us. I remember that. It was huge. I got a Megazord there. An actual Power Rangers Mighty Morphin Season 1 Megazord. Not the big deluxe one, but this little tiny one that had shootout arms and the legs popped off and were little racers. It was really cool. We went back to the same one like a year or two later when Big Bad Beetleborgs was big. And I got, the assault weapons for the Beetleborgs. I got the Stinger Blade, the Hunter one, the Striker one. It was just really cool. But now it's gone. I mean, I have fond memories. One of them I will never forget is standing in line to get Manaphy, the Pokemon exclusive from Toys R Us. I stood in line with a whole bunch of other people. I actually kept getting weird stares like, why is there a person that's so old, because I looked older than I was, standing in line at a Toys R Us for a Pokemon? I had to tell them it was for my kid. I don't have any kids. I just got tired of the stares. It's like, look, I play Pokemon. Bite me. But it just sucks. Toys R Us had about 60,000 full-time and part-time employees worldwide last year. Brandon, the CEO, said on the recording that the company would be filing liquidation papers, and there would be a bankruptcy court hearing Thursday. They filed for bankruptcy. It was Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is bad. Okay, it was $5 billion in debt. Ooh. I thought it was only a million. $5 billion. Ooh. Ouchie. Ooh. Let's see. Who are some billionaires? Rupert Murdoch, Jimmy Buffett, Warren Buffett. No, sorry, Warren Buffett. Jimmy Buffett's a crappy musician. Sorry to any Jimmy Buffett fans out there. Ooh, $5 billion in debt. Whew. But here's this, though. Brandon told employees, we worked as hard and as long as we could to turn over every rock. He put much of the blame on its woes on the media, saying negative stories about the company's prospects scared customers and vendors. I don't really want to deny that, because every single report that you would see on the news was, oh, well, the store's going belly up. Well, kiss Toys R Us goodbye, folks. Filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They'll be closed by the end of the year. And that drove so many people to want to get the hell out of Dodge, because they just didn't want to deal with it. I mean, think about it this way, and think about it from their point of view. You're looking to buy something at a business. You're just told that the business is going belly up. Do you want to, A, go to that business and buy something, or B, go to store B and get it there instead? Because you know it'll be there and it may not be at store A anymore. Well, you're probably going to go to store B. That's what sucks. But then there are people, like I said, that are blaming the millennials for this and everything else. And yeah, while I understand they're wanting to blame the millennials for it, stop using them as a crutch. Let's face it, it's just the changing of the times. 70 years. This is basically a grandfather at this point. You knew it was not going to last for an eternity. Sure, it would have been nice if there would be Toys R Us's like 50 years in the future from now, and I could take my grandkids to one. Sadly, it's not going to happen. I mean, we lost KB Toys, and I didn't know it was like 9 years ago we lost them. So that was even worse. When that one went, that was sad. But this is even worse, because there are so many kids out there that are never going to have the joy and the experience of being able to go to a Toys R Us, and they're never going to be able to say that they were a Toys R Us kid, because they will not know what that was. All it will be is a footnote in a history book. And that is the worst thing you could be. But it keeps going on here. So, like I said, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection last fall. They were saddled with the $5 billion in debt, and that does hurt. So, it pledged then to stay open, but Brandon told employees that it had a devastating sales performance during the critical holiday season as nervous customers and vendors shied away. That made its lenders more skittish about investing in the company. In January, it announced plans to close about 180 stores over the next couple of months, leaving it with a little more than 700 stores. And if you think about it, and I want to explain this, if you file for bankruptcy and you're a big company, the first thing you're going to do is knock down a few stores. You're not going to have the stores stay open. You're going to want to knock them down and go, nope, we're closing up this store. Nope, we're going to close this store because it's underperforming. You get rid of the underperforming ones. You cut off the ones that aren't doing squat. When you file for bankruptcy protection, you go, okay, we're filed for bankruptcy. What the hell have we done wrong? Let's figure this out. And I'm being honest with that because I guarantee you that's probably the first words that were said. And you figure out what's gone wrong and you try to figure out a way to fix it. One of the first ones is, okay, let's get rid of the underperforming stores. Let's double check the maps, see which ones are there, see which ones are underperforming, which ones are the only one in that location, and go from there. While they shut down some stores, they didn't shut down enough of the right ones and too many of the wrong ones, and it didn't help them. But the company's troubles have also affected toy makers such as Mattel and Hasbro. They're big suppliers to the chain, but the likely liquidation will have a bigger impact on smaller toy makers, who rely more on the chain for sales. However, many have been trying to diversify in recent months as they worried about the chain's survival. So instead of going, yeah, we believe in you, it's, did we get a call back from Walmart yet? Yeah? Good, let's go there. Ditch Toys R Us. That's basically, that's what it is, and it sucks. Toys R Us was also hurt by the shift to mobile devices, taking up more playtime, but steep sales declines over the holidays and thereafter were the deciding factor, said Jim Silver, who is the editor-in-chief of toy review site TTPM.com. The company didn't do enough to emphasize that it was reorganizing but not going out of business, Silver said. That misinterpretation, or that misperception, led customers to its stores because they didn't think they would be able to return gifts. Think about it. You buy it, I could use like any store that goes out of business. You buy it, if it doesn't work, and the store's going out of business, you're SOL. Because the store's out of business. They have no way of refunding you your money because, hey, newsflash for you, they can't. They're done. All their money is gone. The store is an empty blockhouse. It's nothing anymore. And it's just a sign of the changing times, and it sucks. Now with the $11 billion in sales still happening at Toys R Us each year, will disperse to other retailers like Amazon and discounters, analysts say. Other chains, seeing that Toys R Us was vulnerable, got more aggressive. JCPenney opened toy sections last fall in all 875 stores. JCPenney's is still around? Huh, the one that was at the mall that I went to changed names, hands, and I don't even think it's a JCPenney's anymore. I don't know what the hell it is anymore. I don't know. I have no idea what it is. Target and Walmart have been expanding their toy sections. Even Party City is building up its toy offerings. Huh. I might have to check out Party City. Well, I've been wanting to, but So, yeah, I'll have to check that out. But anyway, so Amazon's might pick up the dollars, but won't deliver the experience needed for a toy retailer to survive and thrive in today's market, said Mark Rosenberg, a toy marketing executive. And it's true. Toys R Us had dominated the toy store business in the 1980s and early 1990s, when it was one of the first in the category killers, a store totally devoted to one thing. You remember those commercials? I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. That was their huge gimmick, because that was where you went for toys. I mean, I bought a lot of toys there. Like I said, I have fond memories of going there. I even went into the only one around me on Friday. I went in yesterday after work, and you could just feel, just walking in there, you could feel the gloom in the air. All of the toys that were still on the shelf just had this look of, please buy us. Don't let them put us back in the box. Don't let them crate us up. Please take us home. Because they felt so scared because they know something bad's happening, but they don't know what. You could just feel that off of everything in there. The stuffed animals had that feeling. The action figures had that feeling. The Lego kits, the model kits, even the electronics had that feeling of, they're going to box us up. Something's going on. We're going to get boxed up. Don't let them do this to us. And it just felt so horrible being in there, because you could just feel all the emotions from everything in there. The employees were just walking around like, I can't believe this. I mean, it was horrible. And I just went in there just to see if they had like any deals, and I might be able to get like a Lego kit or something like a little cheaper, or find like a couple like Lego kits that were in clearance or something. But you just felt this atmosphere of, they're going to get rid of us. They're going to box us away. Don't let them box us away. And it just was so sad. I mean, you felt so horrible about it, and it's never a good thing. But like I said, it dominated though when its only thing was devoted to. The scale gave it leverage with toy sellers, and it disrupted general merchandise stores and mom and pop shops. Yeah, I know. They basically pulled a Walmart before Walmart was Walmart, but come on. It was devoted to toys. Mom and pop shops usually had those El Cheapo things you could find. They were like the knockoff toys that you'd see at a pharmacy that you get on your way to a birthday party because you forgot to get them a gift. I mean, I bought a knockoff Power Rangers thing from a Rite Aid. And it was decent-ish plastic. And it still crapped out after like maybe 3 plays with it. And it crapped out. Now, so you have that. But children sang along with commercials about the biggest toy store there is. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. And that's all they ever sang. But the company lost ground to discounters like Target and Walmart, and then to Amazon. And as even nostalgic parents saw deals elsewhere. Global data retail estimates that nearly 14% of the toy sales were made online in 2016, more than double the level 5 years ago. Toys R Us still has hundreds of stores, and analysts estimate it still sells about 20% of the toys bought in the United States, but it just wasn't able to compete with Amazon. Amazon can kill anything if it puts its mind to it. Amazon could probably take Disney out if it wants to. Think about it. The toy seller said in the bankruptcy filing that Amazon's low prices were hard to match. And it said its Babies R Us chain lost customers to the online retailer's convenient subscription service. Yeah, that'll kill it every time. Which let parents receive diapers and baby formula at their doorstep automatically. Toys R Us blamed its old technology for not offering its own subscriptions. You could have easily tried to figure that out. Hey, we can deliver this to your doorstep, not a problem. Bling, done. That could have easily happened. But like everything, you're eventually going to get beaten by somebody else. Because you have an idea, somebody else will look at that idea and go, I know a way I can improve it, and then they will improve the idea and use it themselves. So it's, eventually you were going to get overbeaten. But it still sucks nonetheless. But the biggest albatross for Toys R Us was its massive debt load, since the private equity firms of Bain Capital, KKR and Company, and Vonadero Realty Trust took it private in a $6.6 billion leveraged buyout in 2005. The plan had been to take the company public again, but weak sales have prevented that from happening. With such debt levels, Toys R Us did not have the financial flexibility to invest in its business. The company closed its flagship store in Manhattan's Times Square, a huge tourist destination that featured its own Ferris wheel, about 2 years ago. That was a sad day. I actually remember reading the article about that. In filing for bankruptcy protection last fall, Toys R Us pledged to make its stores more interactive. It added demonstrators for the holiday season to show people how toys work. It began opening play labs in 42 stores, areas where children can play with different items. But it's shutting its doors after 70 years in business because it just couldn't keep up. And it's just really sad. It really is. It hasn't made a full year profit since 2012. It's lost $2.5 billion since then. It was reported a loss of $953 million in the first 9 months of last year alone, and sales during the recent holiday period, which the company has yet to report, are believed to have been very bad. Well, it was bad for everybody. I mean, everybody had issues. I mean, there's not enough money going around because there's no jobs for people, and the people that do have the jobs have other things they have to pay for. Bills, debt, and everything else. Prices keep going up, and, that stuff does make a factor in this. I mean, I work a part-time job, and I barely make enough to keep my head above water. But Toys R Us sent out a tweet. But before I get to that, at the time of its bankruptcy, Toys R Us disclosed it had about $5 billion in debt and was spending about $400 million a year just to pay for it. And it just sucks more and more as it keeps going. But Toys R Us put out a tweet saying this: to our loyal customers, we've seen an amazing outpouring of love and support in recent days, and we truly appreciate it. Our stores are open for business, ready to bring joy to children wherever we can, and to help new and expecting parents navigate raising a family. That was put up on March 9th of this year at 4 p.m. So, after 70 years in business, Toys R Us is shutting its doors because they could not keep their head above water long enough, and they are drowning in debt. And it sucks, because you're going to lose something that brought so much joy to children, that brought so many smiles. I mean, in all honesty, if they would allow somebody to walk into an empty Toys R Us, all the stuff's off the shelves, the lights are turned off, and they just walk around in there, I guarantee you they could probably make that into a small little movie for an indie movie or a Sundance thing or something. Just walk around an empty Toys R Us store, completely empty. All the shelves are bare, the lights are gone, the lights are turned off, there's no power, it's all bare, it's all empty. I guarantee you will just hear the sounds of children's laughter and then crying. Because it's so sad that they're not going to be around anymore. That something that brought so much joy for so long has to go away. And it sucks. But I will say this: I don't want to grow up, because I am a Toys R Us kid. And they may be gone forever. I will always be a Toys R Us kid. No matter what. Alright, so how many of you out there are interested in hacking stuff? And no, I don't mean like those ones in the movies and all that. But you want to build your own little things. You're a DIYer. You want to build a computing monstrosity. You just want to get into the hacking tech world of neatness. Now, if I've gotten your attention, Raspberry Pi has just announced, ironically on Pi Day, March 14th, that their new Raspberry Pi 3 is going to deliver more power and faster networking. Now, for those of you that don't understand what I said when I said Pi Day, how you discover pi is 3.14. Though technically pi is infinite, I will hear multiple people go, it's not. Yes, it technically is infinite. Although if you actually would use the rounding system, it would be 3. Which is a great way of shutting up an entire room filled with brainiacs, nerds, physicists, and everything else, because you just yell at the top of your lungs, pi is exactly 3. That will quiet them. I guarantee it. I think I told that to my friend, my best friend, to do that. I think I told that to my best friend to do that once, and I don't know if he ever did that or not, but I guarantee you that would get something. But anyway, despite selling over 14 million of its low-cost DIY computing boards, the Raspberry Pi Foundation adheres to a slow release cycle. The company typically waits over a year to refresh its range, and even then improvements can be very suitable. That's exactly the case with its flagship board, the Raspberry Pi 3, which today has been upgraded to offer more speed in every sense of the word. So the key improvements for this thing are the fact that it's the Raspberry 3 Model B Plus. The big improvements are its processor and networking capabilities. The Model B Plus sports a 1.4 GHz quad-core Broadcom BCM2837BO processor. Why do I feel like they yanked that off the Starship Enterprise? Compared to the 1.2 GHz BCM2837 chip in the Pi 3. Wow, you upped it 0.2 GHz. Way to go! Which the company says has come as a result of improved power, integrity, and thermal design. Couldn't have thought of that beforehand. For projects requiring faster networking speeds, the Model B Plus delivers dual-band 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz wireless connectivity and gigabit Ethernet over 2.0 USB, which supports up to 300 megabits per second, 3 times the speed of previous boards. For those of you that don't understand a damn thing I just said, if you ever connect to a wireless router, you usually get 2 things if it's a dual band. 2.4 gigahertz is basic. It's what a lot of stuff runs on. There's like doorbell sensors that run on that. It can get interference from microwave technology. Vacuum cleaners, stuff like that can interfere with it depending on what style of adapter you have or what style of antenna you use. Believe me, I know. 5 gigahertz is just a different frequency. So let's say you have somebody that's using something and you don't want it to interfere with that frequency. Like, I can actually use this as an example. I would watch something on my tablet and my grandfather had the news on the Roku, like the radio news from KYW or from something else. He would be listening to that and I would be watching a YouTube video. Well, my YouTube video would overtake his radio program and it would stop because we were both on the same frequency. And occasionally I would go to the 5 gigahertz frequency and wouldn't have the issue. Now I know that there's somebody out there that's going to go, no, that's not right. That's what happened. Whether or not it's right, I don't know, but that's what happened. So I'm being honest. But this thing also has Bluetooth 4.2 and Bluetooth low energy support and make it easier for tinkerers looking to create their own IoT hubs or interact with other devices in their smart home. Basically, if you want to build yourself a supercomputer that can fit into an Altoids tin, there you go. There you go. It's just perfect for you. Because that's what I see a lot of these Raspberries being used for, is like Altoid tins or really small computers. They're like tiny. check out the Ben Heck show. He used a crap ton of those things. Lastly, the Model B Plus comes complete with Power over Ethernet, PoE, which hasn't officially been supported until now. Component manufacturers have created their own workarounds, but the Raspberry Pi Foundation will launch its own dedicated PoE HAT to make use of it in the near future. And no, I don't know what the heck any of that meant. I'm just reading it right off the article. This seemed interesting to me, plus it was Pi Day when it came out. That just was funny. You know, Raspberry Pi, Pi Day, Pi is exactly 3. I did the joke, I know. I wanted to say it again just in case you missed it. As expected, the Model B Plus fits the same dimensions as its predecessor, allowing hobbyists to utilize peripherals and cases that they already own. And the price remains the same too, meaning it's only going to cost you $35 at the usual suppliers, or £30. So, like I said, this is if you want to build your own little computer, you're interested in hacking, you're a hobbyist, a DIYer, and you want to have a computer that you built yourself, a very small one, this is the way to do it. It's the El Cheapo method, but it's powerful. Now it's just going to be more powerful. If you want more information on the Raspberry Pi, how it works, and what else it can do, I recommend following the Doctor Who instructional manual for looking things up. Google it. Seriously, that's about the best thing you can do. Just Google it. Because there's really nothing else you can say. At least there's nothing else that I can say. Alright, to my anime fans out there, I'm about to probably piss you off. But just be forewarned, I have never actually seen Boogiepop. I have seen the cover for it. I have seen a picture of it in a magazine ad. I have seen the advertisement in magazines for it. I have not ever, unfortunately, had the pleasure of seeing a single episode or clip of Boogiepop. Now that I've gotten that out of the way and given you a moment there with my 1-second break to recover from this massive shock, yes, I know it's painful. Why am I telling you all this? Well, Boogiepop is returning. Now, I remember this as like Boogiepop Phantom, I kind of remember it as, but Boogiepop is returning in 2018. And the anime fans are just screaming about this. So fans of creepy psychological horror have fond memories of Boogiepop Phantom, the 2000 anime series from Studio Madhouse. Studio Madhouse. Any of your good titles at the moment escape me. Boogiepop Phantom was based on the Boogiepop light novel series by Kohei Kodono, and now it's been announced that series will again take anime form this year. The anime series will be called Boogiepop Wa Ra Wa Na I, or Boogiepop and Others. The title of the first novel in the series, that novel which kicked off the whole Boogiepop franchise, turns 20 this year. The new series will also be animated at Madhouse, and will be in the capable hands of Shingo Natsumi, Space Dandy ACCA, with scripts from Tomohiro Suzuki, musician Kensuke Oshiro, Devilman Crybaby, is supplying the tunes. The cast of Boogiepop Phantom will not, I repeat, will not reprise their roles. Instead, Aoyuki will play Boogiepop, while Soru Onishi will play Naga Kirima. Like I said, it was so much easier a couple years ago to pronounce Japanese names. What the hell has happened to me? Since the original novel, there have been over a dozen sequels, plus spin-offs, manga, and live-action film, and more. The original novel, which was published in English by Seven Seas, who describes it like this: "Who am I? My name is Boogiepop. There is an urban legend that children tell about a Shinigami that can release people from the pain they are suffering. This angel of death has a name, Boogiepop, and the legends are true. Boogiepop is real. when a rash of disappearances involving female students breaks out at Shinoyo Academy, the police and faculty assume they just have a bunch of runaways on their hands. Yet Naga Kirima knows better. Something mysterious and foul is afoot. It is Boogiepop, or something even more sinister. So, I just want to say this again. And I know I paused there for a second. I have to come up with the right words here, and I had to take a nice breath. I just want to get this out. I have no idea what in the hell this is. Like I said, I have seen pictures of it. I have seen advertisements in magazines for it. I have seen the cover art of the DVD. I have not, I repeat, I have not seen a single episode or clip. I could not tell you one thing about this series, other than the fact that it's got a stupid name and creeps me the crap out. The picture that I always remember whenever I even see the name of this, that instantly pops into my mind is this girl standing there and this weird top hat looking thing behind her that I'm assuming is Boogiepop. I always thought maybe it was like some sort of a superhero series where, like, you know, undead things are rising up out of the ground and this person channels the power of Boogiepop and has to fight them with music or something. Honestly, that's what I figured this was. When you hear Boogiepop, you don't think, oh, suicidal things that happen to towns. I don't think that. I think fighting evil with music. I don't think Angels of Death. I don't think that. I think music. Fighting monsters with music. Like a guitar or something. I don't picture this. The plot synopsis for this creeps me out so much, especially nowadays with the stuff that has happened in news and everything else. This plot synopsis alone for the manga, at least for the original novel, creeps me out. It's basically saying that this entire anime deals with suicide. Why? How? Why? And I don't want to make light of this. I don't want to touch this and speak of this with the jawbone of an ass. But this is the plot for the novel. This is how they describe it. When I hear Boogiepop, I don't think this. I'm thinking person fighting evil with music. You're boogieing to pop. I don't picture this. I don't see this in my head. But yet that's what this is. And it's getting a new anime series. Why? Like I said, I'm going to piss off some of the anime fans out there, but I just want to stress this. Why? How is this even a thing? Why? But you know what? You know what's not my problem? It's not something I'm interested in. I kind of steer away from psychological horror fests when it comes to anime. I don't like Paranoia Agent. I saw one episode of that, creeped the crap out of me. I refuse to watch any more of it. I have seen Future Diary. That's about as close to horror as I'm willing to get anymore. For those of you that don't know what that is, don't Google search it. Don't Google search it. It's not worth screwing with your mind. Trust me. Do not Google search it. And just in case you think that you're going to do the opposite of what I said, do Google search it. Then you won't Google search it. Do not Google search it. It's creepy. Paranoia Agent is creepy. There is this dark side to anime. The horror side is dark. It is creepy. Because they can do stuff in there that would honestly make the Freddy films and the Jason films And even Freddy vs. Jason, and I'm going to be honest with you on this. The horror genre of anime makes slasher films, horror films, monster flicks, all that stuff that's designed to scare the crap out of you. The horror genre of anime makes those three things look like a kindergartner's temper tantrum. I'm being dead serious with you on this. That is how disturbing the horror genre is for anime. Now, I know somebody out there is going to go, oh, you're blowing this way out of proportion. I'm the type of person that can take something to a point. I'm afraid of the dark. I'll admit it. I've been terrified of it since I was a child. Everybody is. How do I bear with it? I usually have the light coming off of one of my surge protectors. As long as there's a little bit of light and it's not pitch dark, I'm fine. If it's pitch dark, the tiniest little noise freaks me out. It could be a bottle crunching from air temperature. It could be water hitting the roof. It could be the sound of boards creaking. Creeps me out. But this, God, no words can describe this. To quote the comic book guy, there is no emoticon for what I am feeling. And this is getting a new anime series. Okay? So I guess Madhouse is going to go bankrupt with this one. Or they realize that they're going to take a bath on this one and just hope that the fans are going to, jump on it and go, yep, we went in, and then have it suck and go, no, we went out. We went out now. Because, like I said, it scares me. That's a bad thing. If it scares me, that's not good at all. But there you go. It's coming out this year. I don't know why, but it is. There you go. Alrighty, folks, but that's going to do it then this week for the Absolutely Completely Random Podcast. I had a lot of fun here for the last hour or so. It's been a blast. Yes, I know we had the sad moments talking about, Toys R Us. It's just, it's been a sad week depending on what news you like. I do a lot of anime stuff, so for me it was sort of good, but then again, most of the topics I get are from everywhere on the internet. Something that catches my eye, it's like, that's interesting, or that's a little intriguing, and I want to talk about it. That's what the podcast is. I know it doesn't get me many views, but, to each their own. But yeah, so a couple more things to throw in here on the ending quick. Nice little moment here of silence, if we can, for Professor Stephen Hawking, who sadly passed away this week. I did want to go into this in the podcast because, honestly, and I'm going to say this truthfully, I did not know much about him. I'm not a physicist. I'm not into physics. As much as I can hear people screaming, yeah, I know I like sci-fi, but I'm just not a fan into that field of it. Although I think some of the stuff that we could probably do is pretty cool. I always have ideas for stuff that I think we should try to build, like colonize space, things like that. But yeah, I know I don't have the brain for it. Let's just put it that way. So if we could have quick here in the end, a little moment of silence for Professor Stephen Hawking, that would be nice. May you rest in peace, Professor. But anyway, if you have any topics out there that you would like me to talk about, feel free to email them to acrpodcast@gmail.com. Drop them in my discussion page on my YouTube channel. Plop them up on my Twitter page at Otaku Roads, or post them to my Facebook page, WebDesigner18 on Facebook. And I want to give a big shout out to Toonami, because today is their birthday, March 17th. They originally came on the air, and this was back in 1997. So they are 21 years old. Yay, they're finally able to drink. It wasn't a continuous 21 years, unfortunately, because they sadly didn't. They got canceled in 2008, and were off the air till 2012, but they are 21 years old. So congratulations to Toonami. Really great having you around. You are an anime lover's paradise. Please don't go anytime soon, or if you do, go to your own channel. No, seriously, I would not mind a Toonami channel with its own stuff and its own little thing to have, like an entire thing, like a Tom series or something. That'd be pretty cool. But anyway, that's gonna do it this week for the podcast. I'll see you all next week. Talk to you all again here on the absolutely, completely random podcast. Bye, everybody, and have a great week.